Welcome to MINDSHOCK. This is your host, Bruce McGuire. And today we're going over an artificial intelligence analysis of the 10 best states to live in inside of the United States of America. Now, I've actually been custom tuning an AI because obviously all the AIs out there are inherent biases and flaws by the programmers. So deconstructing AI software is a very long and grueling process. Obviously, I've been using AI for a few different purposes: true crime case analysis, conspiracy analysis, and it's actually kind of funny what is built into the code regarding certain conspiracies. But we're taking a look at a little bit more of a innocuous topic to a certain extent today, which is, of course, the states of the United States of America. So the AI has ranked these across the board. So that means all of the variables, from cost of living to transportation, various laws, job opportunities, the beauty of the state in regards to nature, all of these are weighed equally, so to speak, on a scale of 1 to 10, so they're all averaged, regardless of which city you're in. So obviously, a place like Oregon, Portland is going to bring down the average, so to speak. On the other hand, you have other states which are generally not well regarded, where a city could possibly account for certain variables economically, but bring them down in other instances in terms of laws or whatever. So that's why this is very difficult, because states are very large, for those who don't know, most of the states anyway. So depending on where you live in a state, you could have a much higher quality of life than a different part of the state. And so that's the difficulty in ranking states as a whole. It probably would almost make sense to rank counties instead of states. I mean, cities would be, tens and tens of thousands. That'd be a bit difficult. But ranking counties might make a little bit more sense. But even then, you still have certain areas of certain counties in certain states that are much worse than others. But on average, a county might be a little bit more accurate. So anyway, that's the justification for the rankings here. Other states, which are obviously could be very, very good states to live in, they might not make this top 10 simply because of one of the categories. So all of these are weighed equally and giving the states averages. I know a lot of people who are used to clickbait titles, they might not get that. But that's why I wanted to have this precursor to the actual AI analysis, which I'll run in a moment. So that way everybody can understand why it was made. And then after the fact, we'll discuss all of that and MINDSHOCK listeners' votes and comments for the best states. As always, if you find the MINDSHOCK podcast interesting and informative, you could donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. Help support the MINDSHOCK channel. Help bring logic and reason back to a world where it's quickly going extinct. You could also become a YouTube member right here on YouTube. Help support the channel that way. Make sure you're subscribed. Enable notifications if they're still not coming up. Just make sure to like and comment on more videos, or you can just go to youtube.com/MINDSHOCK. Also, check out my Bruce McGuire channel for other content there. Like and share on Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, Patreon. Patreon's a good priority for case topic, logical analysis, co-podcast requests. You can also be a guest on the podcast depending on your tier. Questions, comments, theories, thoughts, suggestions, rebuttals, debunkings of any kind, leave them in the comment section.
The 10 best states to live in. California, a state that is diverse in both its geography and cultural offerings. California boasts a mild climate, stunning natural beauty, and world-leading opportunities in the tech and entertainment industries. Although it has a high cost of living, especially in cities like San Francisco and Los Angeles, and a high tax burden, the vibrant nightlife, wide array of job opportunities, and quality of life often compensate for this. However, traffic and real estate costs can be a downside, and commuting can be a mixed bag, depending largely on location. The cost of living in California is one of the highest in the U.S., particularly in cities such as San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego. Housing is the main factor driving the high cost, with median home prices well above the national average. Other factors, such as transportation and groceries, also tend to be higher than average. Cost of living, 5 out of 10. Higher in cities like San Francisco and Los Angeles. California's weather is diverse due to its size, but it's known for its generally warm and dry climate. Coastal areas have a Mediterranean climate, with cool, wet winters and warm, dry summers. Inland areas, especially in the Central Valley, experience hotter summers and cooler winters. Weather, 9 out of 10. Mild weather with plenty of sunshine. California is a land of varied beauty, with its stunning Pacific coastline, towering redwood and sequoia forests, majestic Sierra Nevada mountains, and expansive deserts. It's home to numerous national parks, including Yosemite, Joshua Tree, and Sequoia, each offering unique landscapes and outdoor activities. Natural beauty, 10. As the world's fifth largest economy, California offers a broad range of job opportunities with significant growth in the tech industry, entertainment, healthcare, and agriculture. The San Francisco Bay Area and Silicon Valley are home to many tech giants, and Los Angeles is the center of the film and television industry. Job opportunities, 10, especially in tech and entertainment. California often leads the nation in new legal initiatives, particularly related to the environment, labor rights, and consumer protection. The state also has stringent gun control laws. Recreational marijuana is legal in California. Laws, 810. Traffic in California, particularly in major metropolitan areas like Los Angeles and San Francisco, is known to be heavy, especially during rush hour. The state's extensive freeway system is often congested, but there are numerous alternative modes of transportation available, including extensive bus and rail systems. Traffic, 410, congested in major cities. California's real estate market is one of the priciest in the nation, particularly in coastal cities like San Francisco and Los Angeles. However, home prices vary widely across the state. Real estate in inland areas like the Central Valley tends to be more affordable. Real estate, 510, quite high, especially in major cities. California boasts a diverse nightlife scene, from the glitzy clubs of Hollywood to the laid-back beach bars of San Diego. San Francisco is known for its vibrant music and art scene, while the wineries of Napa Valley afford more sophisticated evening entertainment. Nightlife, 10, very vibrant, especially in cities like La and San Francisco. In metropolitan areas like Los Angeles and San Francisco, getting around can be challenging due to traffic. However, public transit systems, including subways, buses, and ferries, provide alternatives. In less populated areas, a car is often necessary. Ease of getting around, 710, public transport in cities, but a car needed in many places. High tax burden. California has one of the highest state tax rates in the U.S., with a top marginal income tax rate of 13.3. The state sales tax is also considerable at 7.25. Tax burden score, 310. Total score, 71. Minnesota! A state with a high standard of living and good job market, Minnesota also boasts a robust education system. The cost of living is moderate, but it does have a high tax burden due to a high income tax rate. The weather can be quite cold in the winter, but residents often take advantage of this with winter sports. Minnesota's cost of living is close to the national average. Housing is more affordable than in many states, but costs for healthcare and transportation are somewhat higher than the national average. Cost of living, 810. Known for its cold winters, Minnesota experiences a humid continental climate. Winters can be very cold with heavy snowfall, while summers are warm to hot and humid. Spring and autumn are generally mild. Weather, 610, cold winters. Known as the land of 10,000 lakes, Minnesota's natural beauty revolves around its many bodies of water, including Lake Superior. The state also offers beautiful forested areas, especially in the north, and prairies in the south, providing opportunities for outdoor activities across seasons. Natural beauty, 810. Minnesota has a strong job market, with growth in healthcare, technology, finance, and manufacturing. The Minneapolis, St. Paul area hosts several Fortune 500 companies, including 3 and Target. Job opportunities, 810. Minnesota has progressive laws regarding workers' rights and environmental regulations. It also has strict gun control laws. However, Minnesota does not permit the recreational use of marijuana. Laws 8-10. Minnesota, particularly the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul, can see significant traffic during peak times. However, the Twin Cities have an efficient public transportation system, including buses and light rail. Traffic 7-10. Minnesota's real estate market is quite balanced, offering affordable options in many parts of the state. The Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul has seen steady growth, but housing costs here are still moderate compared to many coastal cities. Real estate 8-10. The Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul offer a rich and varied nightlife scene, from lively clubs to cozy wine bars. The area is also known for its music scene, with many live venues hosting local and touring bands. Nightlife 7-10. The Twin Cities have an efficient public transportation system that includes buses and light rail. Outside of this metro area, a car is typically necessary for getting around. Ease of getting around 8-10. High tax burden. Minnesota's top income tax rate is 9.85, one of the highest in the U.S. The state sales tax is 6.875. Tax burden score 410. Total score 72. Washington. This Pacific Northwest state, home to tech giants like Microsoft and Amazon, offers numerous job opportunities and breathtaking natural beauty. Despite a somewhat high cost of living and a moderate to high tax burden due to a high sales tax, its vibrant culture and good public transportation system make it an attractive place to live. The weather is generally mild, though some may find the rain a bit too frequent. Washington's cost of living is higher than the national average, particularly in Seattle and Bellevue, where the tech boom has driven up housing costs. Other cities and rural areas have a lower cost, but the overall state average is still relatively high. Cost of living 610. The Pacific Northwest is known for its rainy weather, but Washington's climate varies widely. The western part of the state experiences cool summers and mild winters with significant rainfall, while the eastern part is drier with hot summers and cold, snowy winters. Weather 710. Mild but rainy. Washington is renowned for its diverse natural beauty, from the lush temperate rainforests and rugged Pacific coastline in the west to the fertile farmlands and dramatic mountain landscapes of the east, including Mount Rainier and the Cascade Range. It's also home to the stunning Olympic and North Cascades National Parks. Natural beauty 910. Washington's job market is robust with significant opportunities in technology, aerospace, and healthcare. Seattle hosts corporate giants like Microsoft, Amazon, and Starbucks. There's also a strong agricultural sector in the eastern part of the state. Job opportunities 910, especially in tech. Washington state has progressive laws in various areas. It was one of the first states to legalize recreational marijuana and has implemented extensive environmental regulations. It also has comprehensive laws regarding minimum wage and workers' rights. Laws 810. Traffic in cities like Seattle can be challenging, particularly during rush hour. However, Washington has made efforts to encourage public transit, cycling, and walking. Its ferry system is also a popular method for traveling across the Puget Sound. Traffic 610. Washington has a robust real estate market with high demand and rising prices, especially in the Seattle metro area. However, prices vary across the state, and more affordable options can be found in rural areas and smaller towns. Real estate 710. Seattle, with its thriving music scene, offers a range of nightlife options from dance clubs to cozy pubs. Tacoma and Spokane also have their own unique nightlife scenes. Wine and beer lovers will appreciate the state's thriving craft brewery and winery scene. Nightlife 810. In Seattle, public transit systems like buses, light rail, and ferries help residents navigate the city. Elsewhere in the state, a car is typically necessary. Washington is also known for its bike-friendly city. Ease of getting around 810. Moderate to high tax burden. Washington state does not have an income tax, but it does have a relatively high sales tax at 6.5. Tax burden score 610. Total score 74. Texas. This large and diverse state offers a low cost of living, plentiful job opportunities in the tech, medical, and energy sectors, and a low tax burden due to the absence of state income tax. Cities like Austin and Dallas offer vibrant nightlife and cultural diversity. However, weather can be hot and traffic in metropolitan areas can be challenging. Texas has a lower cost of living than the national average. Housing costs vary across the state, with cities like Austin being more expensive and smaller towns being more affordable. The cost of groceries, utilities, and transportation is generally below the national average. Cost of living, 810, affordable. Texas's weather varies greatly due to its size. The western part is dry with hot summers and mild winters. The eastern part has more rainfall and humidity with warm summers and mild winters. Central Texas experiences hot summers and cool winters. Weather, 710, can be hot. Texas's natural beauty is vast and varied, with landscapes ranging from the coastal swamps and piney woods in the east, the hill country and high plains in the center, to the deserts and mountains of the west. Notable natural sites include Big Bend National Park, the Guadalupe Mountains, and the beaches of the Gulf Coast. Natural beauty, 710. Texas has a diverse economy with job opportunities in energy, both oil, gas, and renewable, technology, healthcare, and aerospace. Austin is known as a growing tech hub, while Houston is a leader in energy and healthcare. Job opportunities, 910, especially in tech and energy. Texas is known for its libertarian legal climate, with fewer regulations on businesses. It has less restrictive gun laws and has been known for its strict immigration enforcement policies. Texas does not permit the recreational use of marijuana. Laws, 710. Texas, especially in large cities like Houston, Dallas, and Austin, experiences significant traffic congestion. However, the state has an extensive highway system and several major cities have robust public transit systems. Traffic, 610. Texas offers a varied real estate market, with affordable housing in many parts of the state. Major cities like Austin and Dallas have seen a surge in housing prices, but overall, Texas often provides more house for your money compared to many other states. Real estate, 810. Texas offers a rich nightlife scene, from the vibrant live music in Austin to upscale clubs in Dallas. Houston offers a mix of Texas-sized clubs and laid-back lounges, and San Antonio's Riverwalk is a popular spot for nightlife. Nightlife, 810. Large cities like Houston, Dallas, and Austin have public transit, but the state's size and sprawl often make a car necessary. Texas does have an extensive highway system for ease of travel between cities. Ease of getting around, 710. Car necessary in many places. Low tax burden. Texas is one of 7 states with no income tax. However, it does have a relatively high sales tax at 6.25, and property taxes can be high. Tax burden score, 810. Total score, 75. North Carolina. With a balance of cost of living, job opportunities, and quality of life, North Carolina appeals to many. The weather is generally pleasant, and there are beautiful beaches and mountains. However, traffic can be congested in cities, and commuting often requires a car. The tax burden is moderate, making it a reasonably affordable place to live. The cost of living in North Carolina is below the national average. Housing is particularly affordable, although prices in fast-growing cities like Charlotte and Raleigh are rising. The cost of groceries, healthcare, and transportation is generally below the national average. Cost of living, 810. North Carolina has a humid, subtropical climate. Summers are hot and humid, while winters are mild to cool. The state experiences a fair amount of rainfall throughout the year, and the coast is occasionally affected by hurricanes. Weather, 810. From the stunning Blue Ridge and Great Smoky Mountains to the west, to the beautiful sandy beaches of the Outer Banks to the east, North Carolina offers a variety of natural attractions. The state also boasts several national parks and forests that offer excellent hiking and camping opportunities. Natural beauty, 910. North Carolina has a diverse economy with opportunities in tech, healthcare, finance, and education. The Research Triangle Park, which includes Raleigh, Durham and Chapel Hill is a prominent tech and research hub. Job opportunities. 810. North Carolina law tends to be more conservative. It has more restrictive voting laws and has made headlines for its bathroom bill, which was partially repealed in 2017. Recreational marijuana is not legal in North Carolina. Laws. 710. Traffic in North Carolina's larger cities like Charlotte and Raleigh can be congested, particularly during rush hours. The state has been investing in public transportation options, particularly in these more populated areas. Traffic. 710. North Carolina's real estate market offers a mix of affordability and growth. Cities like Charlotte and Raleigh have seen rising prices due to job growth, but there are still many affordable areas in the state. Real estate. 810. From the craft breweries of Asheville to the live music venues of Charlotte and Raleigh, North Carolina has a diverse nightlife scene. The coastal city of Wilmington also offers a range of bars and clubs. Nightlife. 710. While cities like Charlotte and Raleigh have public transit systems, many residents rely on cars. The state has an extensive highway system, and smaller towns and rural areas are typically car-dependent. Ease of getting around. 710. Moderate tax burden. North Carolina has a flat income tax rate of 5.25 and a state sales tax of 4.75. Tax burden score. 710. Total score. 76. Virginia, with its rich history, good job market in the tech and government sectors due to its proximity to D.C., and balance of urban and rural environments, Virginia is a state with a lot to offer. While its tax burden is moderate, the cost of living can vary significantly depending on proximity to the D.C. metropolitan area. Traffic in and around Northern Virginia can be heavy during peak commute times. The cost of living in Virginia varies significantly. Areas close to Washington, D.C., like Arlington and Alexandria, have a high cost of living, while more rural areas are more affordable. The overall cost of living is slightly above the national average, mainly due to housing costs. Cost of living. 710. Virginia has a humid subtropical climate. Summers are hot and humid, especially in the east, while winters range from cool in the coastal areas to cold in the mountainous west. The state experiences a fair amount of rainfall throughout the year. Weather. 810. Mild 4 seasons. Virginia's natural beauty ranges from the sandy Atlantic beaches to the east, the rolling hills and vineyards of the Piedmont region in the center, to the scenic Blue Ridge and Appalachian Mountains to the west. The state's richly varied landscapes are highlighted by sites such as Shenandoah National Park and the Luray Caverns. Natural beauty. 810. Virginia offers job opportunities in technology, government and defense contracting, finance, and healthcare. The northern part of the state, in particular, is a strong tech and government hub due to its proximity to Washington, D.C. Job opportunities. 910, especially in tech and government sectors. Virginia's laws are changing as the state becomes more politically diverse. Recent years have seen a push towards more progressive laws, including stricter gun control laws, anti-discrimination laws, and the abolition of the death penalty. Virginia also recently legalized recreational marijuana. Laws. 810. Traffic in Northern Virginia, particularly in the D.C. metro area, can be highly congested, especially during rush hour. However, there are robust public transit options, including buses, the VRI commuter train, and the DCF. Metro system? Traffic. 710. Virginia's real estate market varies widely, from pricier options in Northern Virginia, near D.C., to more affordable housing in southern and western parts of the state. The market in cities like Richmond and Virginia Beach is relatively balanced. Real estate. 710. Virginia's nightlife ranges from the lively clubs and bars of Richmond and Virginia Beach to the wineries and breweries of the Shenandoah Valley. The state's college towns, like Charlottesville and Blacksburg, also have vibrant nightlife scenes. Nightlife. 710. In Northern Virginia, close to Washington, D.C., public transportation is robust and includes the D.C. Metro, buses, and commuter trains. In other parts of the state, public transit is more limited and a car is often necessary. Ease of getting around. 810. Moderate tax burden. Virginia's top income tax rate is 5.75 and the state sales tax is 4.3. Tax burden score, 710. Total score, 76. Oregon. Known for its natural beauty, Oregon offers good job opportunities, especially in the tech industry. With no state sales tax, the tax burden is moderate, although the income tax can be high. Cities like Portland offer a unique culture and good public transportation, but the weather can be a bit rainy for some. Oregon's cost of living is higher than the national average, driven largely by housing costs. Portland, in particular, has seen rapid increases in housing prices, while more rural areas of the state are more affordable. Cost of living, 710. Oregon's climate varies from coastal to inland areas. The coast has mild, wet winters and cool, dry summers. The inland valleys, including Portland, experience warmer summers and cooler winters with less rainfall. Weather, 710. Rainy. Oregon's natural beauty is diverse, featuring rugged Pacific coastlines, dense forests, high desert, and volcanic mountain ranges. The Columbia River Gorge, Crater Lake National Park, and Mount Hood are just a few of the stunning natural attractions the state offers. Natural beauty, 1010. Oregon's job market includes opportunities in technology, with a focus in Portland, healthcare, and manufacturing. The state also has a significant outdoor and tourism industry due to its natural beauty. Job opportunities, 810, especially in tech. Oregon has progressive laws in several areas. It was the first state to decriminalize small amounts of marijuana, and it has comprehensive environmental regulations. It also allows for assisted suicide under its Death with Dignity Act. Laws, 810. Traffic in Oregon, particularly in Portland, can be heavy during peak hours. However, the city is known for its bike-friendly streets and effective public transportation system, providing alternatives to car travel. Traffic, 710. Oregon's real estate market has seen consistent growth, particularly in Portland. However, prices vary across the state, with more affordable options in rural areas. Real estate, 710. Portland is known for its vibrant nightlife, which includes a mix of trendy clubs, unique bars, and music venues. The city is also famous for its craft beer scene. Eugene and Salem also offer a range of nightlife options. Nightlife, 810. Portland is known for its efficient public transit system and bike-friendly infrastructure. In other parts of the state, having a car can be necessary, especially in more rural areas. Ease of getting around, 810. Moderate tax burden. Oregon has no state sales tax, but it does have a relatively high income tax with a top rate of 9.9. Tax burden score, 610. Total score, 76. Utah. This state offers high quality of life, beautiful landscapes for outdoor recreation, and a growing job market, particularly in the tech industry. With a moderate cost of living and tax burden, it balances affordability with opportunities. However, the nightlife may not be as vibrant as in some larger states. The cost of living in Utah is slightly higher than the national average. While housing costs have been rising, particularly in and around Salt Lake City, they are still more affordable than in many states. The cost of groceries, utilities, and transportation is around the national average. Cost of living, 710. Utah experiences a semi-arid to desert climate. Winters can be cold, especially in mountainous areas, while summers are hot, especially in the south. The state is relatively dry, with most precipitation occurring during the winter and early spring. Weather, 810. Seasonal variety. Utah is famous for its unique geological beauty, featuring 5 stunning national parks, known as the Mighty Five: Zion, Bryce Canyon, Capitol Reef, Arches, and Canyonlands. From mountain ranges to desert landscapes, Utah offers an array of natural wonders. Natural beauty, 1010. Utah has a fast-growing job market, particularly in technology, healthcare, and finance. The state's Silicon Slopes area is a significant tech hub. There's also a strong tourism industry due to its many national parks. Job opportunities, 810, especially in tech. Utah law is influenced by the state's majority Mormon population. It has stricter laws on substances, including alcohol and marijuana. The state also has a strict law on abortion. Laws. 710. Traffic in Utah's major cities like Salt Lake City can get congested, particularly during rush hour. The state has a well-developed public transit system, including buses and light rail, to help alleviate traffic. Traffic. 810. Utah's real estate market is growing, particularly in cities like Salt Lake City and Provo, driven by job growth in the tech sector. However, prices vary across the state, with more affordable options found in rural areas. Real estate. 710. While Utah's nightlife is quieter than some states due to its alcohol laws, Salt Lake City offers a range of options from sports bars to clubs. Park City, known for its ski resorts, also has a lively ski scene. Nightlife. 710. Salt Lake City has a decent public transportation system, including buses, light rail, and a commuter rail line. However, in more rural parts of the state, a car is usually necessary. Ease of getting around. 810. Moderate tax burden. Utah has a flat income tax rate of 4.95 and a state sales tax of 4.85. Tax burden score. 710. Total score. 77. Colorado. Known for its outdoor recreational opportunities and stunning landscapes, Colorado offers a robust job market and a vibrant nightlife, especially in cities like Denver and Boulder. With a moderate cost of living and tax burden, and a relatively easy commuting experience, it strikes a good balance for those who love nature and city life. However, traffic can be a concern during peak hours and ski season. The cost of living in Colorado is slightly higher than the national average, with housing being the biggest contributor. Cities like Denver and Boulder are more expensive, while rural areas offer more affordable living. The cost of groceries and transportation is around the national average. Cost of living. 710. Colorado is known for its sunny, dry climate. Despite its reputation for snow, much of the state, particularly the Front Range, has a semi-arid climate with mild winters and warm summers. The mountains receive significant snowfall and are colder. Weather. 810. Seasonal variety. Known for its striking mountain scenery, Colorado's Rocky Mountains offer breathtaking views, hiking, skiing, and wildlife. The state's diverse landscapes also include the high desert plateaus and canyons of the western slope and the expansive grasslands of the eastern plains. Natural beauty. 1010. Colorado has a healthy job market with growth in technology, aerospace, and healthcare. Denver and Boulder have thriving tech scenes, and there's also significant opportunity in tourism and outdoor industries given the state's natural beauty. Job opportunities. 810. Colorado was one of the first states to legalize recreational marijuana. It also has strong laws related to environmental protection and renewable energy. The state has a red flag law allowing temporary removal of firearms from persons deemed a risk. Laws. 810. In Colorado, traffic can build up in and around Denver, especially during rush hour. Also, weekend traffic heading to and from the ski resorts can cause delays during the winter months. The state has multiple transit systems for commuting, particularly within the Denver metro area. Traffic. 710. Colorado's real estate market has seen significant growth, with increased demand driving up prices, particularly in Denver and other cities along the Front Range. Mountain towns also have high property values due to the appeal of outdoor recreational activities. Real estate. 710. Denver is known for its brew pubs, music venues, and trendy nightclubs. Boulder and Colorado Springs also offer a variety of nightlife options. The state is renowned for its craft beer, with many breweries offering tours and tastings. Nightlife. 810. Denver has a fairly extensive public transportation system, including buses and light rail. In other parts of the state, a car is typically necessary. Colorado's mountain areas can be more challenging to navigate, particularly in winter. Ease of getting around. 810. Moderate tax burden. Colorado has a flat income tax rate of 4.63, and the state sales tax is relatively low at 2.9, though local sales taxes can add to this. Tax burden score. 710. Total score. 78. Florida. Known for its warm weather and beautiful beaches, Florida has a low tax burden with no state income tax, and and a reasonable cost of living, opportunities in tourism and healthcare sectors are abundant. However, the state is susceptible to hurricanes, and traffic can be congested in some popular areas. The cost of living in Florida is close to the national average. While housing costs can be high in desirable coastal areas, other areas are more affordable. The costs of groceries, healthcare, and transportation are generally below or close to the national average. Cost of living, $8.10. Florida has a tropical to subtropical climate. Summers are hot and humid with frequent afternoon thunderstorms, while winters are mild and dry. The state is also susceptible to hurricanes, particularly in the late summer and fall. Weather, 8:10, hot and humid, but good for those who love sunshine. Known for its long, sandy beaches and unique wetlands, Florida's natural beauty is centered around its water features, including the Everglades National Park, Florida Keys, and the springs of the Central Region. The state's diverse flora and fauna, including alligators, manatees, and a variety of birds, add to its natural appeal. Natural beauty, 9:10, beautiful beaches. Florida's economy is diverse, with opportunities in tourism, healthcare, agriculture, and aerospace. The state is also a major hub for international trade and the cruise industry. Job opportunities, 8:10, especially in tourism and healthcare. Florida has a mix of laws. It's known for its stand-your-ground self-defense law and lacks some regulations on firearms. However, the state has made recent moves toward more environmental protections. Recreational marijuana is not legal in Florida. Laws, 7:10. In Florida, traffic can be heavy in major cities like Miami, especially during the tourist season. Many cities have public transit systems, and Florida also has an extensive highway system. Traffic, 6:10. Florida's real estate market varies significantly, with higher prices in popular coastal cities and more affordable options in inland areas. The market is influenced by factors like tourism, immigration, and retirements. Real estate, 8:10. Miami is famous for its vibrant nightlife, with a range of clubs, bars, and live music venues. Orlando, Tampa, and Fort Lauderdale also offer varied nightlife scenes, and the state's beach towns have a laid-back, tropical nightlife vibe. Nightlife, 8:10. Florida cities have public transportation systems, but many residents and visitors rely on cars. The state's flat geography and extensive highway system make road travel relatively straightforward. Ease of getting around, 7:10. Low tax burden. Florida has no state income tax, and the state sales tax is 6. Tax burden score, 9:10. Total score, 78.
All right, so interesting AI analysis there. Now, right off the bat, I know a lot of people are going to be shocked that California was included on the list. Now, actually, for those that don't know, MINDSHOCK is mostly based in Los Angeles. I would not recommend Los Angeles. I would not recommend the state of California, but California is really gigantic. I mean, people don't understand. Like, if you live out in the wilderness areas of Northern California, I mean, you can have a good life there, not impacted by the politics or the pollution of Los Angeles and some of the cities here. I mean, it's a night and day difference in certain areas of California versus other areas. In general, obviously, California wouldn't necessarily be a lot of people's top pick, and California is one of the states where people are just leaving in droves in these mass exoduses, mostly for tax reasons and other reasons, just in terms of the state is run politically. But that does not negate the natural beauty of the state and some of the weather in certain areas, and especially in Northern California. where you could actually ski and snowboard. I mean, a lot of people in their mind, especially if they're not from the U.S., I mean, California is usually synonymous with the cesspool known as Hollywood in the Los Angeles area and the greatly polluted L.A. area with horrible traffic and poverty and just a high cost of living. Just so many problems in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and to a lesser extent, San Jose or San Diego, some of these other cities which are a lot better, but not necessarily the number one top picks. Although San Diego does have a lot of people vouching for it. But again, in such a state with so much corruption across the board politically, it is hard to recommend it. But just keep in mind, it is an absolutely gigantic state. And similarly, Washington State is also quite an amazing state. Again, you have Seattle just really bringing everything down, similar to Portland and Oregon. Colorado as well. I mean, obviously a much greater state in the past. Now it's become politically much more corrupt. The air quality has plummeted in the last 5 to 10 years or so. And so, yeah, a lot of issues there. Texas, and absolutely another gigantic state with such huge differences in a way of life in some of these rural Texas areas versus, let's say, Dallas or one of these other larger cities. Just huge differences. I mean, even Florida, a lot of people think Florida is all beaches. I mean, the Panhandle, I mean, you get some country life up in that Panhandle that's more similar to Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi than it is Miami. So just to reiterate, huge differences. Some people might also be surprised to see North Carolina on this AI list, which is curious. But certain areas have a low cost of living. A lot of people used to move to North Carolina more so than now. I mean, just a lot of problems. And just, again, all the AI weighed all these factors equally. So, for example, affordable housing to some people is more important than, just issues with laws or poverty rates. I mean, some of those go hand in hand, but not necessarily. So that's why some of these states were on the list. Also, obviously, the AI didn't really utilize the variable of corruption, political statewide corruption. So that's curious. And also, what I found kind of interesting as well is the states that didn't make it on the list. Because even Virginia, a lot of people would not put Virginia on the list just because, again, we have another cesspool there. Washington, D.C., one of the most corrupt cesspools in the entire world. And some people believe being in close proximity to it is not a good idea. Now, for those that haven't read Strategic Relocation by Joel Skousen of Alex Jones fame, he was on the Alex Jones show quite some time ago. What would that have been, like the early 2000s originally or so? He wrote a book, or I guess there's several different volumes now, Strategic Relocation, that also factored in, military targets in the cases of certain wars, nuclear power plants, risk from meltdowns, and then risks of natural disasters. So obviously the AI didn't really factor those. So we do have to keep that in mind. However, again, Virginia, also an extremely beautiful state. Technically, Washington, D.C. isn't even part of Virginia. It's kind of like a city-state, and we're not going to go into that. We're not going to get into that right now. But there are certain reasons some of these states are on the list of AI that some people might not have anticipated for various reasons. So let's go to what the MindShock listeners think here. If you don't know, in the community tab on youtube.com/MindShock, on the MindShock YouTube channel, you can participate in discussions and polls, and I'll be going over a lot of information from the MindShock listeners, some of the most logical people on the interwebs. So opinions here are usually pretty on point, other than, of course, the triggered goofs, which are also very appreciated for their Dunning-Kruger stylings and educational material that they provide. For the MindShock channel might not even exist if not for the Dunning-Kruger crowd. All right. So Chad actually said, I was born in Utica, New York, and raised there as well. Moved down to Florida in 2019. It's a close call, but I will say I like New York. I like the huge change in the seasons. Camping in the Adirondack Mountains is breathtaking. The fishing is great, and most importantly, the food. You can get a slab of something in a box they label as pizza, but if you tried real deal New York pizza, you will get it. Okay, so yeah, New York State, for those not in the US, I mean, New York State is an absolutely gigantic state with relatively cheap land, at least, the farther away you get from New York City up into the Adirondacks and the border with Canada. So, yeah, it's a huge state, really, really beautiful wilderness up there. Relatively low standard of living in those rural area, relatively low cost of living in those rural areas as far as land goes, and certain types of food, especially local farms and such. So complete night and day. This is another great example of a night and you cannot think of a more different living environment than way upstate New York and Manhattan. I mean, and it's technically the same state, the same exact state. That's why these rankings are so difficult to do. But yeah, the corruption of the state, the laws are just so horrible and getting worse that it's just really difficult. I mean, I really don't know why New York City hasn't really separated from New York State. I mean, their laws are night and day, a lot of them, but a lot of the corruption's also creeping. I mean, it's already crept into New York State. I know a lot of people from upstate New York that have moved out, actually, moved to greener pastures, so to speak. But yeah, hard to argue with Chad here because, yeah, upstate New York is quite breathtaking on the nature side, no doubt. The Crabman Jones posted Oregon. We have the coast, mountains, dunes, high plains, farmlands of all kinds, deserts, hunting, fishing, a ton of lakes. Weed is legal, and if we could only find a way to get rid of Portland, there wouldn't even be a conversation. I mean, that's a great point. And what I brought up earlier, like you have some of these cities. Like I don't want to I don't want to really discuss so-called gun control too much here, but one example is a lot of these murder capitals that get blamed on these Republican states, so to speak. And I'm not a statist, so I don't advocate for Republicans or Democrats or any political cults of any kind. But it's kind of curious that Democrats always hallucinate that all these high murder rates are in Republican-controlled states, so to speak. But they're all in the Democrat-run cities. Those are all the murder capitals where guns are the strictest gun control. Because out in the countryside, in all these different counties, the gun control in some of them are not even existent. And they don't have these issues. So, yeah, Portland, Oregon is a cesspool, no doubt. I mean, apologies for people that live there, but it is... I don't think it's number one on anybody's place, or on a lot of people's places to move to unless they have to for work or something of that nature. But for any kind of long-term putting down roots, I mean, I don't know if people are just running and scrambling for Portland as opposed to getting out of Portland. Ray Jones responded, I agree, sir. Still considering moving to Oregon. Portland may be damned. Himsnake responded, Maryland is a good representation of the American experience. There are good cities like Bethesda, terrible cities like Baltimore. I mean, that's an understatement. Good farmlands, secluded lakes, oceanfront property, although I wish it was warmer, and close to D.C. Yeah, that's an interesting point. Maryland is a pretty good mix. I mean, perhaps I'll have to do a follow-up AI analysis of which state has a mix of literally everything. Not that you necessarily want a city like Baltimore. The other issue with Maryland, it's not that big, so all of these are kind of close together, which could be problematic. And yeah, so I'm assuming that's why a lot of people don't, move to Maryland as their first choice. Nitro Freak Manho posted, whichever state has the least amount of government and the most amount of freedom and open or concealed carry gun laws would be my choice, but unfortunately I don't live in the U.S. Unfortunately, they don't live in it. Well, where do you live, Nitro Freak? I'm definitely gonna be doing a follow up here on country rankings as well. I'll do top 10 and bottom 10 also, just to kind of get it all, see what AI thinks of all of it, and then we'll also dissect it, of course, and logically analyze everything in typical mind shock fashion as usual. So in terms of the U.S., I mean the least amount of government, most amount of freedom, you'd probably be looking at places like West Virginia, Wyoming, Montana, Alaska. That's probably where you'd be looking, maybe Texas. But yeah, I mean, maybe even Tennessee and Kentucky to a certain extent. But yeah, the problem with a lot of these states, again, is some of these cities are kind of night and day to the rest of the state, and then you have political control and all of these things. Then you have other issues like in West Virginia, job opportunities not necessarily the highest. Although, again, if there's not that many qualified people there, still could possibly be something there. Then you have other states like New Hampshire where it's, live free or die, but the politics reflect the opposite. But then again, you have certain different political groups on complete opposite ends of the spectrum. Some are completely for freedom, some are just commie socialist bastards, trying to enslave everybody and tax everybody to death. And you have these groups battling even in states that are on paper still have a decent amount of freedom. But again, things change so quickly in different parts of the states, the city versus the rest of the state. I mean, in general, you could probably make an argument that anywhere outside of a certain radius of major cities in any state is pretty decent. Pretty decent. But yeah, so yeah, Nitro Freak. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple states in the U.S. that are still pretty good, but then they have other issues as well where there's really no infrastructure. I mean, do you need internet? So, I mean, there's other questions here. It's really not as simple as that. Like, how much money do you have? How much money do you need to make? Do you need a good job? So it's really not that simple, and that's why a lot of good people, anti-fascism people, are forced to kind of work in some of these cities or certain states where they'd rather not be, just so they can make a certain amount of money, and then of course they can move to a much better state. Brendan posted Michigan surrounded by fresh water. Again, Michigan, an absolutely amazing, beautiful state. But then you got Detroit there. You do have Detroit there. Crime rate and all these issues. And also, the weather is kind of a factor there because some of these harsh winters, a lot of people don't find that desirable. But again, pros and cons. Everything's got your pros and cons. Susan posted, wherever that is, that's where I'd like to be, in reference to the best state. Just Bill's Dirty Racing Shorts posted, I don't know where that would be, but I know for sure it ain't Missouri, pronounced misery. And since we are on this subject and Missouri has been mentioned, you might want to look at the unsolved disappearance of Christina Whitaker in Hannibal, Missouri. That doesn't sound ominous at all. Buckle up because this trip down the rabbit hole is going to get wild. The whole town is corrupt. Was just a documentary series about a few years back. Yeah, I'll add that to the list. Just Bill's Dirty Racing Shorts. And in regards to Missouri, again, like, which area are you comparing? Because I've known people that have been in Missouri. I passed through, but I didn't really have a lot of time there, so I don't really, I didn't really actually spend time there. So I don't really know, but it seemed pretty decent. Again, some of the city areas, high poverty, low job opportunity. I mean, it's just, there's issues there, educational issues. I know Missouri has as well as Mississippi, I believe. They have issues. They have infrastructure issues. But if you're living off the land, I mean, some of those rural areas of Missouri might be much better than New York City or Los Angeles. Again, it depends on how much money you have. Do you have a plot of land? How stable is your situation? I mean, those are kind of the variables. I mean, if you have a ton of cash, I mean, you could probably live great anywhere, even in a city. Some people actually think that. I mean, I don't know. Even if you're a billionaire, would you really want to live in a polluted city? I mean, I don't know. All right, another Maryland individual here, Joshua, posted, I live in Maryland, Baltimore City for the last almost 6 years now, but for the majority of my life lived in Prince George's County, Maryland, which is right outside of D.C. I lived in Greenbelt, Maryland for many years, which happens to be one of only 7 NASAs in the country. There's plenty to like and appreciate about living in Maryland, the DMV area, which stands for DC, Maryland, Virginia, in that the location itself is awesome. You are so close by major cities such as DC, Baltimore, Philly, New York, Boston, all within driving distance. There's Ocean City, Maryland, and even Delaware beaches, all within a few hours or so of driving or a cheap bus train ride away. Now, with all that being said, the weather for the most part is really awful. It's either ridiculously humid and hot, or literally freezing cold for about 8 or 9 months out of the year, with only a few months being comfortable weather-wise. Also, the majority of people here are transient a-holes, and there's just a nasty vibe amongst the people here. Wow, that sounds like a lot of places, though. I do not enjoy being in most people's company here, which is not the case when I visited Southern California, San Diego, LA. Wow, I don't know where in LA he's been hanging out. I mean, there's some scumbags here. And down south, Mobile, Alabama, South Florida, Tennessee, etc. I mean, Southern hospitality is a thing, but I wouldn't apply that to anywhere in California. Actually, in fact, Northern California might be a little bit more, other than San Fran, might be more hospitable than in LA. I mean, I've spent some time in Maryland as well. I don't think I've been to Baltimore City, but yeah, I mean, Baltimore seemed like a pretty standard Northeast. I mean, the weather wasn't really that different than most of the rest of the Northeast. I mean, I guess you could say it's probably a little bit nastier than, I mean, I don't know. A lot of these humid and cold issues, I mean, they're pretty much, the entire eastern seaboard has issues with freezing cold and humidity, so. As opposed to, obviously, West Coast is, you got that dry climate. So, I mean, again, everybody's got their preferences or which cons they would rather have. Overall, it's cool living in the DMV area due to there being lots of great opportunities for good jobs, careers, and being able to traffic to historic and fun cities, beaches, mountains, forests, etc. And that's another thing, too, like, what do you like to do? Because if you like the quiet country life and you don't want to go to nightclubs in the city or amusement parks or any of that crap, you probably would like it in rural areas in almost any state, whereas if you do need those things, then somewhere like Maryland or some of these higher populated areas would be a better bet for you. Also, obviously, depending on your job. I was born in so this is just continuing the post of Joshua here. I was born in West Palm Beach, Florida, and left when I was 5, but have visited and lived down there for a short time, since then a few different times. Since Trump was elected back in 2016, he really brought lots of construction, and a hell of a lot more people are now visiting and living there now, which has both its pros and cons, but more cons in my opinion. The traffic, privacy, crime rate, prices, etc. all have went up big time, but with that comes better paying jobs, more things to do, etc. I wish it had been left alone and it stayed a laid back and sleepy kind of town, but it is what it is. And a lot of people have that sentiment. I mean, almost any town that has kind of had some kind of population growth in the past few decades, people say, like literally, people say the same thing about their town. But it is what it is. I plan on moving back down there on a few years or so from now. I much prefer being very close to the beautiful beaches, having hot weather all year round, etc. Miami and Fort Lauderdale are both south of West Palm Beach, and there's tons of fun to have down there. I overall prefer South Florida over the DMV, and it is, in my opinion, the best area state to live in, with the DMV coming in second for me. I mean, the other question I have for Joshua here, how many other states has he lived in or visited for extended periods of time? Because he seems pretty on point with these two areas, but what's the specific comparison to other areas? Because obviously different people are looking for different things. Gail posted, weed is illegal in Texas. People still go to church, great hospitals and medical care, but it's a huge state, lots of variety, lots of great universities, great music venues. 6 Flags over Texas. We have the Dallas Cowboys, the Stars, and the Mavericks. Texas Rangers and other baseball teams. We have horse riding and rodeos. We have large water parks, botanical gardens, great hotels, great schools for children, and we also have the Alamo. The list is endless. Yeah, that's the thing about Texas. I mean, Texas is such a large and varied state. Like, I think people, even in the U.S., people outside of Texas, and maybe people even inside of Texas, do they not comprehend how large Texas is? I mean, a lot of people trashing on Texas, they're kind of trashing one very particular part of Texas, and different people trash different parts. But Texas is so huge and varied. I mean that's really the thing about Texas. I mean, even the climate has a pretty decent variation. I mean, other than Alaska, Texas is the largest state by far, by far. So, so yeah, I mean, Texas very very varied. I mean, you almost have to divide the state to do a really good analysis on it because trying to judge it as a whole, just like California or some of these other huge states, it's just such a problem. Gail had a follow up post here. Texas, we have everything here. Gulf Coast, Little Grand Canyon in Palo Duro. We have piney woods. We have dry areas, deserts like in West Texas. We have green plush, Central and East Texas. We are multicultural with a lot of Hispanic influence. We have large cities close within driving range to the major Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, Austin, San Antonio, Lubbock, Wichita Falls, Tyler, many lakes for fishing and recreation, great restaurant, job opportunities, etc. And that's another thing too, like a lot of goofs thinks that most Texans are like prejudiced in some way. A lot of people live in Texas specifically for all these multicultural benefits. I'm not going to obviously go down those rabbit holes because there's obviously pros and cons to a lot of that depending on which exact variable one wants to discuss. But in general, a lot of people move to Texas specifically for the Hispanic factor. Valis Damon VM official posted swag like Ohio. I mean, we're gonna need some more specificity there, Mr. Valis Damon VM official. Creature 7946 posted Montana baby exclamation point exclamation point exclamation point. Yeah, Montana's pretty awesome. Montana's pretty awesome, but I mean, how brutal are those winters for people that have an issue with snow? Also, politically, I mean, it's kind of going down the drain slowly. A lot of people that I've talked to that have moved from Montana to Wyoming basically say Wyoming is now as awesome as Montana used to be. But again, where in Montana are they talking about? Because in the three major cities, things are going downhill a little bit, but in those rural areas, things are probably still pretty similar. Jack Jones 90210 posted GB. Does that mean Great Britain? So Jack Jones 90210, the Beverly Hills, California zip code, has posted GB as his pick. Oh man, MindShock listeners are awesome. Okay, IB McFly posted, it's clearly Michigan. Well, again, you do have the problem of Detroit, and then the winter issue for people that are weather sensitive, so to speak. HJ Silly posted Montana. Skeet 6903 posted Maine. Yeah, Maine is another really awesome state. Now, it is kind of a welfare state politically, and there's some issues in the cities, which aren't even really that big, but rural Maine is pretty cool. Natural beauty that you'd be hard pressed to beat. I mean, truly hard pressed. I mean, Acadia National Park on the coast. I mean, the forests of the northern part, most of the state, actually, really. I mean, almost the entire state is just like a beautiful park. But again, job opportunities. Like, what are the economical the wheels of the economy don't necessarily move that quickly in Maine unless you're talking about fishing along the coast, things of that nature. I mean, Maine is just, it's awesome. I mean, it's a great state, but again, winter's an issue, of course, the northeasternmost state of the U.S. Mrs. JSV 650 posted Michigan. Another vote for Michigan. Man, Michigan's getting a lot of love here. Steve Kalan 6198 posted San Diego, California. Yeah, I mean, if you have to live in a city in California, like a big city, I mean, San Diego might be the best of the big cities. Just there are a lot less problems in the other cities, but some people are saying the problems are coming to San Diego too, and eventually it's going to start looking like LA. Obviously San Fran went completely down the toilet. Nihilistic Chris 263 posted Massachusetts, where Indio Mom lives. Well, Massachusetts gets the vote. I mean, Massachusetts is actually a very interesting state. Massachusetts, I haven't spent a lot of time there other than in Boston. And I think I drove through, I don't even remember, it was so many years ago. I might have drove through some of the rest of the state. I don't remember. But if I remember correctly, actually, Connecticut, I might be messing my memory up here. Connecticut and Massachusetts, they really do have some beautiful forests. Like, people don't realize. Like, everybody just thinks Massachusetts is Boston or UMass. But Massachusetts is it's a beautiful state. Now the problem is the corruption, especially law enforcement corruption, and also some of the gun laws are just absolutely horrid. I mean, pretty much, it's difficult to get a gun there. And Connecticut, I believe, as well. So Massachusetts, Connecticut, states that really don't get the credit they deserve for their natural beauty. Connecticut, obviously, a smaller state, but I mean, still not that tiny. But yeah, some of the traffic, again, certain areas and cities in Connecticut, some of the cities in Connecticut are just absolute trash, crime wise, just across the board. And same thing, I mean, Boston, a lot of people don't like Boston and some of the other bigger cities in Massachusetts. A lot of law enforcement corruption, a lot of political corruption in Massachusetts for sure. If people are interested, maybe we'll do a series on just in depth states and take one state at a time. Juicy Jules 7409 posted California or Maine. That is interesting because those states are pretty opposite. I mean, literally opposite coasts, opposite climate for the most part. I mean, that's an interesting combo, but okay. I mean, if it was just northern rural California or Maine, that's a little more synonymous, slightly. Sinclair Reed 5367 posted Montana. There you go, Montana getting some love. Cesarina Courtney Y'all Marmont 4699 posted NJ. Is that supposed to be New Jersey, the most corrupt state in the United States? I think it was legitimately the most corrupt state. New Jersey's always up there. Massachusetts, like I said, the pollution in Jersey supposedly is pretty bad, but there are certain areas of the state. I mean, is it known as the Garden State, if I remember that correctly? Because what is it? Is it the northwestern corner of the state that's actually quite beautiful and a far cry from the polluted beaches of? I mean, a lot of New Yorkers go down to the Jersey beaches and they're pretty polluted. I mean, has anybody actually pulled up some of the pollution reports for New Jersey? And that's without even getting into all those factories and it also is Newark. I forgot what was the name of that movie. It was the movie where I think on the poster of the movie it said Newark, the carjack capital of the world. Was the name of the movie Newark? Does anybody remember what movie I'm talking about? I actually hadn't known that since I watched that movie. It's like probably an old '90s movie, early mid '90s. Is Newark really the carjack capital of the world, or at least the U.S.? I kind of is South. What's the major city in South Africa? Is that Johannesburg? Was that the carjack capital of the world? We need to find this out. Hold on a second. So apparently, Chicago has usurped Newark as the carjack capital of America. Interesting. Cairo, Egypt, is also it's up there. Also, apparently, Bakersfield, California is in the running as of 2023, according to insurance.com. So, North Jersey used to be the car theft capital of the world, with more. Oh, of the whole world. Wow, with more cars stolen in Newark than any other city. But that's old. That's from 2013. And they actually have entire carjacking crews in Newark, New Jersey. And I believe the name of the movie was New Jersey Drive, 1995. The unofficial car theft capital of the world. Wow. So, yeah, I mean, and then you also have Camden's in New Jersey, right? Is that next to Philly? They have some really high crime rate. So I don't know. New Jersey I might have to do a whole podcast on which states have the most white collar and blue collar crime. Because New Jersey might be up there for just dominating both ends of the spectrum on blue collar and white collar crime. And then, of course, Jersey Shore. I mean, that's one of the greatest crimes against humanity on the reality TV side. I'm sure that probably doesn't accurately represent most people in New Jersey, but that's the reputation of New Jersey. Ray Jones 95 posted, North Carolina is terrible. Please stay away from that place. And again, people have such widely varied experiences living in a state depending on where in the state they live and also what type of job they have, because that completely changes your entire life experience. Brick 9244 posted Wyoming. It is the least populated state in the U.S. More people live in Rhode Island, which I believe is the smallest state, than Wyoming. It has beautiful landscapes, national parks, wildlife, perfect for homesteading and raising horses. Wyoming has a 4% state sales tax, a max local sales tax rate of 2%, and an average combined state and local sales tax rate of 5.36%. Wyoming's tax system ranks number one on the 2023 State Business Tax Climate Index, according to taxfoundation.org. It's peaceful and less polluted. I don't currently live there because I need to finish school in Washington to get my funeral director's license and then can transfer my license to Wyoming. Wyoming does not have a funeral signs program. So delighted I can do that. I would never recommend Washington, which is sad because there are things I love so much about it. However, the overall homelessness and drug abuse problems, plus Governor Inslee's policies, make it very difficult to enjoy living here. I mean, it doesn't say exactly where Brick is, or Bree C is living. Am I assuming that is Seattle? I mean, is homelessness really an issue outside of Seattle? A follow-up response here. I forgot to add their public school system. They have 36 blue ribbon schools, 8 special ed schools, and 5 charters. Their homeschool standards are simple and flexible. You get a stipend for curriculum, similar to Washington. Only in Wyoming cannot use the money to buy religious educational materials, which doesn't really matter to me, though I am religious. In 2019, the school system ranked 6th in the nation, according to KURL8.com. Yeah, Wyoming seems pretty decent, and their gun laws are pretty good too. You can purchase weapons to protect yourself against criminals and survive easier than some of these Democrat states. But yeah, so very interesting. Very interesting. For the people that have not chimed in, what does everybody make of all this? Where would you recommend? I mean, so many states, there's just so many pros and cons. Different people are looking for different things. Of course, the weather issue and the constantly evolving law situation in a lot of these cities, in a lot of these states, and depending on whether you want to live in the city or in the countryside. I mean, that's almost... I mean, if we don't break it down by county, I mean, the way to really break this down is... if you're ranking states, you have to almost have a sub-ranking of a major city versus non-city rural areas of the state and rank accordingly. Because otherwise, all these other factors kind of average, and then you don't really get an accurate picture about which state truly is the best. But that's it for now. I'll definitely be doing a follow-up. I'll be doing bottom 10 as well, and also constantly adjusting this AI system to get it as accurate and as useful as possible. Hope everybody found another edition of the MindShock podcast interesting and informative. If you want to help support the podcast, you can donate to our PayPal. You can also become a YouTube member right here on YouTube for access to exclusive streams and chats. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit that bell for notifications. Like and share Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, Patreon. Questions, comments, theories, thoughts, suggestions, rebuttals, debunking of any kind, leave them in the comments section. This is Bruce McGuire signing off. Catch you guys next time.